Labour really think they're onto something here, don't they, with Geoffrey Cox? We're on to day 11, I think, of bad headlines around so-called Tory sleaze, and they potentially think that they might have another scalp, another by-election, because they think he may well have broken the rules, even though he denies it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't see how he hasn't broken the rules if he's used his office to do a call with the British Virgin Islands and the Caribbean for his outside work as a lawyer. It looks open and shut to me, so it'll be a very, very interesting case. But no, Labour think he's onto something, but so do many Tory MPs think Labour are onto something, because it was a disastrous decision by Boris Johnson to actually try and protect Owen Paterson, who was as guilty as sin, and change the rules to protect one of his own. And many of those Conservative MPs bitterly regret being whipped and coerced into voting for something they didn't believe in. And there is no end to this now, because there is so much a back history, so many entries in the Register of Members' Interests, which in this climate can look very iffy and very dodgy. The Prime Minister's policy at the moment seems to be one, runaway to COP in Glasgow. He's gone up there earlier than expected, was thought to be going up the weekend. He's on a day trip today, hoping to shift the agenda. Two, hoping it'll just run out of steam, the whole sleaze issue, because of course Parliament's into recess. And thirdly, there'll be an attempt by the Conservatives, we've seen it already really, to try and tar some of the Labour MPs, including Keir Starmer, with the same brush. The problem is it's seen as Tory sleaze because of the Owen Paterson affair.
In saying that, Kevin, you and I have been around long enough to know that sometimes actually on politics, and we don't know whether he's broken the rules or not, and of course there will be a decision made by that, given the fact it's now been investigated. It's also how it's perceived by the public. And frankly, even though Geoffrey Cox says he works, 70-hour weeks, I mean, going to work in the British Virgin Islands, when people couldn't go on holiday, also using the parliamentary estate to also, it must be said, to defend the British Virgin Islands, who have been taken on in a legal case by his own government. It is quite extraordinary, this story.
It is. It is absolutely extraordinary. Geoffrey Cox says he wasn't defending the British Virgin Islands in this taxation corruption case brought by the UK government. He was trying to get justice. But he's trying to get very well-paid justice by himself. But it is perception. People will look at it and think, yeah, maybe I don't mind if an MP has another job. But then you will think, how much has he earned? What, nearly £1 million a year? Look, is a lawyer first and an MP second, is what they will say. And there he was out in the Caribbean and voting remotely over the internet on issues that affect people here in the UK. How can he look after his constituents in Torridge and West Devon? They will rightly ask. No, it's an incredible case, and you can see his colleagues are distancing themselves from him. Sajid Javid, the Health Secretary, did so today. Others will be doing the same, because that is just such an enormous amount of money. The rules are quite clear. You cannot use your office or any parliamentary resources at all to pursue your own financial interests. Catherine Stone, the Standards Commissioner, will investigate. He denies he says he believes he hasn't broken the rules. Let's see, and then let's see too if a suspension results.
And just very finally, Kevin, you touched upon it earlier. The Prime Minister does seem to, by his actions last week, have opened this kind of Pandora's box, really, for actually quite senior Conservative MPs who do hold these second jobs, often consulting jobs. Do you reckon what's the sense of the mood amongst Conservative MPs is probably what I'm trying to get at here, particularly some of those senior kind of old school Conservative MPs who might be quite annoyed that they might be about to be stripped of very lucrative second jobs?
Yeah, it's got to be said, Darren, that some of those older traditional Tory MPs were also backing Owen Paterson. People like Ian Duncan-Smith, who's on the front page of The Guardian today, over 25,000 he got from a company which benefited from a reform he recommended when he was on a deregulation committee. But I think the general mood in the Conservative Party is that they feel let down. Most Tory MPs feel let down, and Boris Johnson didn't show good judgment or leadership, and not appearing in the House of Commons on Monday to either take his medicine, his punishment, or lead a fight back, did leave a vacuum. There was even an empty seat on the front bench, which should have been his. He could fly back by private jet from Glasgow the previous week to go to a private dinner in London. But when he was visiting a hospital up in Northumberland, he wanted to get the train back so he could miss the debate.